Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Last summer, we launched our volunteer recruitment campaign to round up new volunteers across the country and continue growing our communities. And this training is the next phase of that campaign. We'll start off with introductions and talk a little bit about being a volunteer. Next, we'll take a deep dive into community building, the operations of our office, and our partnerships with all of you. Then we'll move on to a little note on philanthropy and we'll wrap up. We want you to know the mission of our office and ask any questions you may have so that we can break it down to the point where you're comfortable talking about it in your own words. We have three main themes that we work into our messaging and try to get across with our programming. The first is to strengthen your network. This is probably going to be the most straightforward one. You'll hear us say that once you're part of our Northeastern global community, you're a member for life. And building personal connections is really important, whether that be through events, telling your story through an alumni profile, or a career newsletter, for example. The second is to be more resilient. But what do we mean by this? We like to think of our office as the connector between you and your goals, whether that's learning a new skill or getting ready for a career change. Alumni Relations can connect alumni, parents, and students with lots of different resources. And lastly, advance your next big idea. Northeastern is all about entrepreneurship, and it's something that's also really important to our alumni base. So when we say advance your next big idea, we're inviting you to tap into our office as a global network of resources and really join the visionary culture of our campus, even after graduating. We have more than 260,000 alumni spread over almost 180 countries. That is a lot of people. And we don't have the capacity to be reaching all those people. So we do this through our 45 global communities, with 25 of them making up our domestic communities. All of you are an extension of our office, but on a global scale. And we rely on you to be our eyes, ears, and boots on the ground. It's because of you that events in these areas are even made possible. We're really proud of your hard work, and we want to point out a few bonuses that come with your role. The first being strengthen your network. Again, we talked about this being one of our goals, and you have an insider opportunity to learn the story of those who come to your events. The next is gaining leadership and event management skills. When you bring to life a vision, whether the event is social, career, or educational, you're the one managing that experience. All of you coming into this have found a way to continue your Northeastern experience. So think of yourself as a university ambassador. Also having a seat at the table and developing experiences for alumni. If you're interested in something, there's a really high likelihood that other alumni are also interested too. You'll get to attend select events free of charge that you had a direct hand in planning. And lastly, giving back to the university. We know that not everyone is able to participate in philanthropy. So being able to volunteer your time, energy, and effort is just as valuable. We try to set clear expectations with our partnerships with you, helping us set goals for the types of programs and for the scale of those programs, engaging both with our office and the larger community, giving your time, talent, and energy by being actively involved in the event planning process from start to finish, being our main point of contact and the connection point between our office and other community members, since again, we don't have the capacity to work with everyone interested in hosting an event. Generating awareness for what our office is doing and for what the university is doing through your personal networks. And sharing your Northeastern experience is going to be really powerful for someone who's attending their first event, or maybe feels a little removed from Northeastern but was really excited about seeing a Beanpot watch party. So scanning the room for someone who isn't part of a group, walking up to them and making them feel comfortable is key. And then of course, enjoying the events and programming that you make possible. This highlights the work of our communities. Last year, more than 60% of our events were supported by volunteers, which really stresses how important you are to the work that we do. So that's 272 volunteers across 184 events that let us interact with over 6,300 people. So that's over 6,300 alumni, parents, students, and friends who all had a direct experience with our office and may have not had that opportunity otherwise. Our global Northeastern community is full of people with different experiences, interests, and perspectives. And it's our job and your job to build that sense of connection. All it takes is one passionate and motivated alum who want to kickstart activity in an area to create a community. And when a community's leadership builds a network, that area gains momentum. So I invite you to think of the work that you're doing as community building. And we can visualize how we build our global network through the snowflake model. You, our leaders, are in the middle, and we expect you to create meaningful connections with the next layer of people, who then create meaningful connections with that next layer of people. And the expectation is that the outer layer all become volunteers. But think about this as a larger web of connections with everyone in the system. These connections can be a result of events, or through our community Facebook groups, or other social channels like Twitter and Instagram. And by linking and sharing content on these platforms, you can help reach different networks. We have many resources to help us support our events, like My Time and Energy and Your Time and Energy. And we also have financial resources, but since those have a limit, we really focus on making sure that our events are high impact. One way that we can think about our events is by separating them into two categories, high risk versus low risk. So let's start with low risk. A low risk event is a social hour, for example. It's something with a low registration fee that doesn't have a minimum cost you have to reach, and is flexible on attendance, which means that the success of the event doesn't depend on whether 20 people came or 5 people came. Then we have high risk. A high risk event is a cooking class, for example. It's something with a high registration fee, which we then subsidize, and has a cost that you have to reach. It is not forgiving when it comes to attendance, which means that if we aim for a group of 20, but only 5 attend, that's 15 prepaid slots that we missed out on. And again, our focus is high impact programming that meets the needs in our communities. Every year there will be chances for high risk events, but it's really important that we don't lose sight of the low risk, high impact experiences that can come out of a social hour. One of your most important responsibilities is event and program management, and we rely heavily on you to help from the proposal phase to the wrap-up phase of each event. So let's walk through those steps together. Proposal. Every event starts with a brainstorming session, where you think about what program will best fit the needs of the community. Some communities want recurring hours. Others want industry-based networking opportunities. And others look forward to meeting up just once a year for a Beanpot watch party. Once you settle on the activity, maybe it's a boxing class or maybe it's a speaking presentation, you search for the venue's availability, and the venue's cost. This is all included in an event proposal. Then we'll work together to get all of the logistics squared away, giving us about 1 month leading up to the event for promotion and personal outreach. Recruitment. Next, we want to think about our target audience. Let's say the event is a networking dinner with a conversation on blockchain and cryptocurrency. We're going to want to invite people with a background in finance. But let's say the event is a pasta making class. We're going to want to cast a much wider net and make sure that it's on everyone's radars. The idea is to be very intentional with our promotion strategy. I always like to say that for some events we want to fill the room, but with other events we want to fill the room with the right people. Staffing. Every event needs a volunteer to host, manage check-in, create a comfortable environment, and interact with our contact at the venue. And wrap up. After each event, we share a debrief with our department, which includes photos, a breakdown of who attended, and how the event went. So the most feedback that you can give us, the better. Philanthropy isn't the easiest topic to talk about, but as our ambassadors, we do need your help in educating people. Our office is housed under the Advancement Division, and even though it is not a requirement that you contribute philanthropically, it is our job to prepare you for conversations around giving. A large factor that plays into a university's national ranking is its alumni participation. People will often say that Northeastern's ranking is the value of your degree, and it's only continuing to get better. The act of giving at any level helps Northeastern have more visibility with businesses or investors, get more grants for research, and attract great faculty from all over the world. Attached to most of our events is what we call a gift in ticket. This means that a portion of the registration fee is counted as a donation to support future programming. Usually our registration pages have a donation section. This is different than a gift and ticket. One thing that we're really proud of is that we encourage people to give in ways that feel authentic to them. Maybe they were a scholarship recipient and they want to give back in that area. Beanpot is their favorite tradition and they want to support the Men's Ice Hockey Fund. We are only able to do the work that we do because of philanthropy. So if you come across an event attendee who shows an interest in giving, you can always connect them with your alumni relations contact. But having this background knowledge is going to be really helpful. We wanted to share a few testimonials to show the many different impacts that volunteering can have. For Gabriella, she felt guided in her professional goals. For Fred, he wants to connect with those who might be in a vulnerable place in their life and give them a support system. For Yuki, it's finding comfort in knowing that a fellow Husky is always right around the corner, no matter what part of the world she may be in. If you have any questions, please contact your alumni relations contact. Thank you so much for joining us.